All right, so thanks for sharing. Sometimes what happens when coaching doesn't go well, but there's an entire system around this, and it's been around for a really long time. In my early days at BMC Software, we did a program called First Line of Defense, and I think that's when I got familiar with the four box concept. We then had some great experience with training from force management. They have the four box skill and will model. We also in one of our companies together worked aggressively to coach and develop the entire go-to-market team using a four box. And we wrote a little bit of a story, a narrative, a book actually that was published in 2019, co-authored with yourself, David Mattson, who's the CEO of Sandler Training, and me, focused on the four box and how to grow hypergrowth or grow an organization through coaching and collaboration and building teams from within. So why don't you share a little bit about that and tell us about leaders who have team members, let's say, starting in the top right quadrant, and some of the specific things you might coach them on.
Well, first of all, I love the four box because it's simple and it's very relevant. You can do it on the back of a cocktail napkin. You can do it on a whiteboard. You can do it formally. You can even have a conversation on the phone when necessary after people get the hang of it. So I love it. You mentioned the high will, high ability. When people are in that quadrant, they are gems. So I love it when people are in that top right because it makes my job as a leader or anywhere in executive management so much easier. So when people are there, first thing I tell them is they have a lot to offer the business and that I want them to participate more in it by helping others that are new or others that have less skill, perhaps. So I challenge them to get even better than they are now by teaching or by acting as a mentor or by being in front of a group and delivering a class or any or all of those combinations. Then I find opportunities in addition to that stretch them to fill gaps in their own personal development plan. Hopefully they have one. Maybe it's a cross-functional assignment they can lead or even a rotational assignment, perhaps even overseas if appropriate to the company. The key is to find ways to raise the bar, to put them in situations that may even be uncomfortable for them, but to do it in such a way that they feel safe. Because after all, they are in the top right quadrant and you got to have their back if they stumble a little bit when they're stretching. Because these are the best of the best and should be rewarded, not punished, for taking on risks that may be in addition to their current day jobs.
Is it a test to them in a degree? Is it a way to see how committed they are to the business as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can find out a lot just by offering this. But typically, if they're in the top right or the high willingness, high ability, that willingness part usually. One of the criteria of being in the high will area is that they want to be stretched. They want to get better. They want to be lifelong learners. But in spite of all that and challenging them and everything, then I describe, because I think it's good to close the loop on this for them, how they win and how the company wins. So, it's not just about dumping a bunch of stuff on them. But here's how they win. They win by, and this depends on their development plans to some extent and career aspirations, but they win by being recognized, by getting exposure to other execs and functions, by having a better chance of career advancement, and they're able to personally improve their reputation that becomes a part of their brand. Not only now, but in the future, even if they're not with us.
Yeah. And the story goes, if you're not providing that to them, someone else will. And in fact, so it's a company's responsibility to develop and produce the next generation of leadership through management courage, right? Not many leader or leadership courage. Many leaders are afraid to promote those that are really strong within the team and give them exposure because they feel that it's a risk to them. It's the exact opposite. It gives them the ability to overperform and be even a next level leader. So it's a difficult thing. What's your thought on that?
Well, one of the things you and I both look for when we're building hypergrowth teams are people who are better than us. And because we know that if they are, then they're gonna lift the entire organization. And there is a place, a strong place, for people in the organization who can identify and develop talent. And if we're able to do that, and the person rises up higher than we are, so be it. There's tremendous value in the organization for us as well. And you will find, we have found, we get raised up right along with them.
Yeah.
So in addition to describing how they win, it's maybe a little bit more obvious on how the company wins by these folks in the top right. And what it gives the company, and it's worth describing to them. Here's why I like it that you're in this quadrant. You're giving us bench strength for future line management, or due to your exposure that we're going to give you and filling gaps that you have, we're going to give you some cross-functional opportunities, and maybe even a promotion to a cross-function, where there might even be a better intersection of value for them and the company that they didn't know about.
Yeah, I like this, and we'll put a pin in it because we could go for days. However, this is internal selling as well as external selling at its best. Meaning, if you have more to offer, use the skills that we use when facing prospects internally to sell and evangelize on how to improve and how to bring teams to the next level. And what ends up happening is you move high right and you pull everyone along with you, including your company that you're working at. That's the idea.